Hello everyone, how are you doing this day? So I want to share with you a new feature on the GitHub Copilot on Visual Studio 2026. This is the inside version. And there is the profiler tool that is added on the GitHub Copilot. With this profiler tool, we can inspect memory leaks, for example, or any performance bottleneck. And the Copilot can help you to fix those issues or any issue that may found. So here I have a Maui application, pretty simple one, that is running on Windows right now. So it's under the hood is a WinUI application, and I have a memory leak here. Okay, so we do have a memory leak because of event handler subscription, and we do not unsubscribe to that event handler. But before I show you how to use the GitHub Copilot tool for that, I would like to show you another other tools that you have inside Visual Studio that can help you to debug and identify memory leaks. So let's run this application and try it. And as you can see, it's a pretty simple application where you have like one page and I navigate to the second page, and this second page will have the memory leak. So when I do click here, I have my breakpoint on my page 2 constructor, and I go right here on the locals window, right click and click on make object ID. So this will create an object ID for this object, for this instance of this object. And this is really helpful because I can access this instance at any context of my application. So let's hit continue and the garbage collector will run. And I have here back to my page. Now I navigate back to the main page and I will do a second navigation. So I will click here again. I am on the constructor of the page 2. So now I will create a new instance of page 2. And as you can see here, my previous instance, that one that I marked as object ID, is not null. So it means that this object is alive on memory. And I will put a breakpoint after my GC runs, and even after the GC collect, I still have that instance of my page 2. This is not the new instance, okay? It's the first instance that I created, so it is still alive and should not be alive. So here I have a memory leak. So just a quick fix here to show what we want to see on that object ID. I will mark this delegate here, this object as static. And since I'm using right here, I am subscribing to a static method. And because of that, there is no strong reference between this type and this event handler here. So the leak will not happen in this case. So let's see if I'm telling the truth. And the app is running. Let me resize here and let's navigate. I am on the constructor again, and I will do the same steps to create the object ID. And now the garbage collector will run, and I still do have my object ID here. And this is expected, you know, I am on the page 2, so I don't want it to be collected yet. So I will navigate back and navigate again. And I am inside the constructor of the page 2, and my preview instance is still alive. And so far this is expected, you know. Garbage collector doesn't work as a reference counter like you have on the Apple Swift platform. And so it's not because the object doesn't have any reference to it, it doesn't mean that the object will be collected, okay? The garbage collector will run when it finds necessary to run, so it's not deterministic. But after I run this, I will run my GC, so I am forcing the GC to run. And now you can see here that the value is null. So that object ID, that instance is now null. And I do only have this new page, but it's a new instance, okay? So the memory leak is solved right now. But this is not the best strategy, you know. Sometimes you may have an instance field here, could be any object, and then you cannot access it because this is a static method, so it does not have any access to these instance members. So sometimes you do need, this to be an instance method, an instance delegate, in order to access those members. Okay, so let's try it with Copilot. So I have here my Copilot chat, and let's pin this window. And we do this add profiler to access the profiler tooling inside the Copilot. I choose the Sonnet model because I found its results are better than the GPT, for example. So I will stick with this, but you probably want to try out a different one. So keep in mind that if you don't find a very useful information, maybe it's a good idea to change the model that you are using. So basically, I will I will ask here to help me to investigate memory leaks. So I think I have a memory leak on my application. Can you help me to investigate that? And I will press confirm here. That way it will run my application under the memory profiler. And excuse me. And let's see what we do have here. So let's keep waiting. Okay, now we do have the application and we can interact with the application. So I will navigate a couple of times to make sure I have a lot of instances of page 2 in memory. That way it will be like useful. And I can either close this application or click here on stop collection in order to finish that session, profile session, and compress the data. And while it is indexing that data and the Copilot will read it and grab me some information about that, I would like to keep in mind, but I think to remember you guys, that this profiler agent will only run on WinUI, okay? For .NET Maui, it does not work on mobile applications because the profiler doesn't run over Android or over iOS devices. So this is just useful if you have a WinUI target on your .NET Maui application, and probably it will work with Avalonia and Uno platform as well, okay? But keep in mind that you should run it targets that are supported on the performance profiler for Visual Studio. And if you are using mobile, you need to go with the .NET Trace and .NET GC Dump to investigate the memory leaks. .NET Trace are more for performance-wise. Excuse me. So Copilot did read the information, the report, and give me a lot of information about that. So basically it says that there is a memory leak on my page 2 and the cause is because of the battery info changed event handler. And give me some best practice ideas like unsubscribe from the event, use event, weak event partners, implement exposable, and monitor page life using the page lifecycle methods to unsubscribe those events, and about the wiki manager. So let's move back here to page 2, and you can see a suggestion of the Copilot about the fix. And it's saying, okay, you can use the onDisappearing, and inside the onDisappearing, we will unsubscribe for that event handler. It kind of works, okay, this is not at all bad, but it's not recommended for using onAppearing and onDisappearing .NET Maui because they are not very deterministic and they are not aligning across platforms. In other words, like the appearing and disappearing may trigger differently between Android, iOS, Windows, okay, and Mac as well. So it's better to use other tools, other mechanisms on .NET Maui. They are more deterministic and they are load and unload events. So you do have like the load event and unload event. And we have the override on navigated from and on navigated to. Okay, so those those 4 methods are better than on disappearing and on disappearing. So you use the on navigated from. I will grab the Copilot's code here, and I will paste it there. So this is basically unsubscribing my event when I navigated from that page. With I believe it will work for my scenario. So let's try it out. So let's put a breakpoint here on the page to constructor, and a breakpoint on the end of my GC runnings. So let's resize the windows. And let's do navigate here. Let's create the object ID. Okay, the object ID is still alive as expected. And let's go back and let's navigate it again. So now we are constructing a new instance of that page2 object. And when I ran my GC cycle here, I have null on my object ID. So fixed my memory leak. And I'm pretty happy with this implementation, so I will keep with that. But keep in mind that sometimes Copilot will not offer you the best approach for your code. For example, at some runs here, it suggests you to implement the iDisposable interface and the dispose pattern, but for me it's like a very overheaded, okay, for a .NET Maui application. On its appearing, it was a good idea for him, but on navigating from or unload it would be better. Okay, so I did hope that this video can help you digging into the profiler and how you can use Copilot to help you investigate performance issues and also memory leak issues as we saw here. And see you next time. Bye bye.